Hey everybody, and welcome to Slowpoke Racing and to the Ultimate Racing League. Sorry for the short delay there. We had a bit of trouble actually getting the broadcast to start working, but we're here now, and we are on. We are here for our Super Formula series with the League 1 guys. We'll bring you League 2 a little bit later on, but for now we're going to stick with the League 1 guys. We are at round 6 of this series. It's really flying by now, and we are over in Austria at the Red Bull Ring. Known for its unpredictable weather, and looking at it out there from the driver's point of view there, it does look a bit wet and slippery. So we have been praying, or I have anyway, I've been praying for a bit of the old wet stuff in one of the races, and it's finally arrived. The GT gods have said, go on then Mark, you can have a bit of a wet race. So looking forward to this one. See how these guys handle these cars around this track in the wet. I don't know how long it's going to stay very wet. It looks like it has been raining. Whether it carries on raining remains to be seen, but we shall see. So without further ado, we shall crack on, shall we? Have a look down the grid, and then we'll get this race underway. Now then, I think the rain is a bit of a leveler sometimes, and there's some familiar faces not up there on pole position or even in the top three. So let's have a look, shall we? Let's get the usual camera. There we go. So Nath has managed to get himself on pole position with Method just behind. Now then, Method is actually starting on soft tyres, so maybe he knows something we don't. That's either a mistake or genius. We shall see. But Method starting on racing soft tyres. Then we've got Brian Moncani just behind him in third. He's used to being up there. He's had some good results of late as Brian Moncani, so it's be interesting to see what he can do from third. We've got Wadru in fourth. Not a great round last week at Le Mans. Well, Le South, should we say. Tried a different tactics, but it didn't work, so I'm sure we're going to see Wadru back to his usual self, and that is just foot on the noisy pedal as far and as fast as he can go, until he either runs out of fuel or tyres, and then he'll change, and then he'll be back out again and full throttle as usual. But that's Wadru in fourth position. Stormfly in fifth. Not used to being that far back, is he? Is Stormfly, but there he is in fifth. Sixth on the grid is Grasshopper. He's starting on the intermediates. Yeah, it's wet, but not wet enough for the full wet, says Grasshopper. Matty Older, he's in seventh. He's gone for the full wet. So whether he's had a look at the weather and expecting more rain, not sure, or he just thinks the car handles better on the wets, as some of the other guys are thinking the same as well. But that's Matty Older. He's seventh on the grid on full wet tyres. Willard just behind him in eighth. He's on the intermediate. Osman. Now there's a name you don't associate with ninth position on the grid, but there he is. Osman is ninth. He's on the full wets. Maybe just doesn't like the wet stuff in this type of car. Osman, we do know, is very, very quick, but might just be struggling. Might just be the weather, might be the car, might be a combination. Who knows? But there he is down in ninth. Then we've got Viking on 10th. Now I've just been having a quick look through the previous rounds, and I don't think Viking has actually taken part yet. So, and I'm having another flick through now just to make sure that I've not missed it. But no, I'm pretty sure that Viking has not actually taken part yet. So great to see him out on track. So looking forward to seeing what he can do in the Super Formula Series. Not a great qualifying though for him, down in 10th. Somebody else who's not had a good qualifying session is Unforgiven. He finds himself down in 11th, and Rossi down in 12th. So those two, bit of work ahead of them. Rossi starting on those wet tyres, Unforgiven on the intermediate. So quite a mixture of tyres actually. The biggest surprise of all though is Method on the softs. As I say, it is either one big mistake or a stroke of genius. We shall see. So we'll get the normal camera going, and we'll get this race underway, shall we? 50 minutes ahead, about 50 minutes ahead of us, so it's going to be, I don't know, 30-ish laps. And we have lights out, standing start. Oh, and Method just cannot get going, and as we suspect, it's all over the place. Oh my goodness sake. We're going to have another look at this. We have got to have another look at this. Where's he gone? Let's find Method. and you just see the trouble that he's in from the off, and those wheels are just, they're spinning, but he's not actually going anywhere. Has a bit of a nudge with somebody, he's spun left, right and centre. What a shame. Well, maybe he's just going to try and crawl his way around the track and wait for it to dry out, who knows, but that has given Nath a little bit of a gap actually. Stormfly, what a start he's had. Stormfly from 5th up to 2nd in amongst that chaos on the start-finish line, and now then Nath is weaving about, so maybe we've got a safety car, and it looks like we have. I don't know, we're trying to warm the tyres up for Nath. It's going to be very cold, very wet out there as the rest of the guys all start weaving around as well. Pretty pointless actually in the wet, but there we go. Now then, is he back up and racing again? It looks like he is. It's foot to the floor, yeah, as we head down towards Gold at turn 4 for the first time, and it is Nath out in front with quite a gap actually. Now back to Stormfly, so Stormfly got a little bit caught out there. He's on the intermediate tyres, and if you look at the bottom left hand corner just next to the clock, you can see that meter there, that little bar that keeps flickering from a very light blue to a dark blue. That's actually a track indicator, tell you how wet the track is. I'll get there in a minute when I'm trying to explain all this, but it just indicates how wet the track is, and at the minute it is bordering into that just over the 2/3 into the very wet, which would really indicate it is full wet. You've got to be pretty brave to go out there on the intermediates. You've got to be even braver to go out there on softs. So let's have a look. Where's Method? Method is in 10th actually on those soft tyres. He's still pirouetting as he comes around turn 6 at Raunch. I bet he cannot wait to get into the pits. He's going to have, surely he's going to come into the pits. Parts of the track is absolutely soaking wet. Willard, he's down there as well. Viking is as Method goes off again. He'll struggle to get back to the pits at this race. It's going to be a very, very long day for Method if he doesn't change those tyres. Willard has got up to the rest of the pack. Now then, let's just see what's happening. It doesn't look like we're racing yet, so Nath is still leading them around under the safety car. Let's just have a Method. He's not coming to the pits. He's staying out there on those soft tyres. Well, surely the rest of the group are not going to wait for him. I mean, it's his choice to go onto the soft tyres. If he just going to keep pirouetting around the track, then well, that's down to him. I mean, let's just hope for Method's sake that the track dries out and it is a stroke of genius. But for now, he's just pirouetting around all over the track, and the rest of the guys really need to get on with this race as Nath holds them all up. As we go into turn 3 then, on the second lap, we've not really done any racing yet as we come down. I suppose I can just go through a little bit of details about the car, can I? It's where are we? It's most of them are using the Honda. I think there's also a Toyota, but I think most of them in the Honda. About 625 brake horsepower, 670 kilos in weight, and it is the SF23. Tyres, well, there's no tyre rule really when it's wet like this. The brake balance and downforce can be changed, and well, that's about it really. And are we up and racing now? Has Nate decided to call go? I think he has, so we are back up and we are racing as they come around turn 7 at Worth Curve, through turn 8 then, through the penalty zone, down towards turn 9 at Rint. Now this track is full of penalties, and you go breaking track limits, and that's what you're going to be picking up. And usually the Red Bull races are won and lost through the penalty system, so we're just going to see if these guys can actually keep them on track as Nath goes across the start finish line, followed by Stormfly as we head up into turn 1 at Vicky Lauder Curve. Try not to take too much of the sausage curb. You are going to damage the underside of that car as Stormfly decides to put a challenge in on Nath as they go up through turn 2 towards turn 3 at Remus. We'll just stick to these two, and Stormfly gets through on those intermediate tyres, gets that car slowed down and gets through that turn. Nath just following him through in on the wets. But these two starting to try and break away. Brian Moncani still sitting in third, chasing them down. Brian Moncani on the intermediates, and we can see how bright it's going, so the sunshine is coming out. So the track should start to dry out now. So this is, if it starts to dry out a lot quicker than these guys expect, then Method will get straight into this race. And it's actually showing that Method's got the fastest lap. Can Method have the fastest lap on a 152, and he's on the soft tyres and he's slipping all over the place? There's something's wrong there, isn't it? Anyway, Stormfly out in the lead, Nathan second, Brian Moncani in third. He's coming under a lot of attention from Grasshopper. Oh, now the Grasshopper could pick a penalty up there. He did go very deep into turn 9 at Rint, unless they've turned the penalties off, which wouldn't be a bad decision really under these conditions. But it does look like the rain stopped. Wadru in fifth. Shall we jump on board with Wadru, and we can see it from his point of view as he moves up into fourth. Now then, what's on there? Did we have a spinner? I'm not sure, but Wadru moves up into fourth. Brian Moncani dropping back to fifth as we come up the hill towards turn 3. A quick look behind us, and it looks like Brian Moncani trying to get up the inside. Grasshopper into third. Wadru dropping back down to fifth again as Brian Moncani goes through. A little bit of a gap back to Matty Older in sixth, followed by Unforgiven as we come down towards turn 4 at Slosh Gold. Still on board with Wadru as Brian Moncani and Grasshopper almost go wheel to wheel, and Grasshopper goes through. He's having a fantastic start to this race, isn't he? As Wadru tries to get right under the rear wing of Brian Moncani. Now, I'm not sure how these cars handle in dirty air, but with Wadru driving so closely to Brian Moncani, he's certainly picking up the slip, but he is going to be driving in dirty air, so I'm not sure if that unsettles the car or not, as a little bit of a gap opens up there between Wadru and Brian Moncani, and you can see that's the wet part of the track. Now then, somebody has gone into the pit. So let's just have a look, shall we? Who was it? It is Nath. It is Nath who's dived into the pit. So he's decided that the track's drying out enough to change tyres. I think a couple of other people are coming in as well. Osman in P11, he's decided to come in. Now then, Method moves up into 11. Maybe he's it was a stroke of genius then from Method to get straight onto the soft tyres. They are if you look at that little bar now, it is only showing the third. 1/3 marker, which you could probably get away with slick tyres actually. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Method can make his way through the pack. He's got to stay off the curbs though. Those curbs are really going to be slippy. You can start to see the dry line appearing now, and that's what Method's going to try and stick to, but he does need to stay away from those curbs. They will be so slippy as Nath and Osman come back out on track, both on soft tyres. In the meanwhile, Stormfly out in front by quite a gap actually. He has really gone for it on those intermediates. Is he going to come in, or is he going to carry on? No, he's going to carry on. He wants to increase his lead. He can afford to get onto those curbs. He has got the intermediates on. Grasshopper in second, also on the intermediates. He's going to stay out. Brian Moncani in third. Now that these guys on the wet tyres, the intermediates and the wets, are going to start looking for wet patches actually on the track to try and keep those tyres cool, because they will start to disintegrate very, very quickly if they stay on the dry line. Wadru in fourth, also on the intermediates. All these guys decided to stay out at least for one more lap. Unforgiven, he's made his way up into fifth. Unforgiven started 11th, didn't he, on the grid? So a good start for Unforgiven on the intermediates, and you can see that little bar, that the wet indicator, suddenly shoot up when the guys do go across the curbs. But if you also look at the tyre wear now, we are only on lap 6, and the tyres really are starting to take a battering now. So as I said, the guys using the wet tyres will start looking for the wetter part of the track just to keep the tyres cool, as we follow Matty Old around in 6th. Viking just behind him in 7th. He's picked up a half-a-second penalty, so I think he's the first one to fall foul of the penalty system here at Red Bull Ring. It is one big penalty zone as Viking comes under attack from Willard. Willard having a bit of a look as they go into turn 9, but nothing doing there. Viking manages to defend it, giving each other plenty of room. It is still Viking in 7th with Willard in 8th. We're going to jump on board with Willard, and you can see the guys drifting to the right hand side of the track which is where it is still wet. These guys still on the wet tyres, the intermediates for Willard. A quick look behind us, and no sign of Rossi at the minute. Very well, we can just about see him as we go up the hill then through turn 2 into turn 3, and Willard having a bit of a look up the inside, but nothing doing really. And he's got Method in front of him. Remember, Method started on those soft tyres. Now he's looking for the dry line, whereas Willard and co are all starting to look for the wet bits of the track. So yeah, I think I've got to hand it to Method. It maybe was a stroke of genius to start on the soft tyres. Really did struggle, didn't he, with the opening couple of laps, but the safety car helped him catch back up. But now if he can keep it on that dry line, he should start to make his way through the grid, especially as some of the other guys start to come into the pits to change tyres. Oh, we've had somebody go off. Let's jump out. I think it was Matty. We're just going to go back and have a quick look. I think it might have been Matty that gone off. I'm not sure. Let's have a look behind us. Viking in 7th. It was Matty in 6th. He's on the wet tyres, and you can see they really are taking some hammer, those wet tyres, as they start to wear out. Oh, yeah, he's just gone too far into turn 8 and off the track, but back on again very, very quickly. Back onto the power. Now then, is Matty going to come into the pits? We'll just stay with him and have a look. I think he's going to stay out. He's on the wet, so he does need to find the wettest part of the track to cool those tyres down, because they're at about 30-40% wear now. Rossi has made his way up into 10th from 12th on the grid, also on the wet tyres, but he surely must be thinking about coming in to get them changed very soon. Nathan 11th, he's now out on soft tyres. Remember, he made a stop after about the 2nd or 3rd lap, did Nath, as did Osman, but Osman all the way down in 12th, and it looks like he's struggling actually. He is on the soft tyres, but this is not like Osman. He is usually up the other end of the grid at the pointy bit, but Osman all the way down in 12th, but we'll keep an eye on him. Fastest lap at the minute is Nath with a 1:15.5. Osman's last lap, lap 6 was a 16. Well, he must have had an incident on lap 7. He's got a 1:23. Oh, what a big spin as well, and a kiss with barrier at turn 1. I think he just got the wheels on the curb, and we said to the earlier, didn't we, those curbs are very, very slippy, and I think it's just dragged him around. Oh, and we've had a disconnect as well, I think, from Osman. I think Osman has retired. He's been told to retire the car, so Osman has left the building. Stormfly still out in front by some margin, still on those intermediate tyres, but surely must be thinking about coming in and getting them changed onto intermediates. Grasshopper in 2nd, comfortable at the minute. Brian Moncani still in 3rd. Then we've got Wadru in 4th, not that far behind, but a bit of a gap between these 4, and then Unforgiven in 5th. Oh, as Unforgiven has a big old kiss with barrier as well. Well, turn 3 is really catching a few of these guys out as they try to get onto the power, and the back end has just spun you around it. I mean, you do that in the dry, so it must be really hard in the wet, but Unforgiven has fell foul to that one as well. Damage at the front for Unforgiven, and that now has knocked him down to 7th as Method goes through. Method started on the soft tyres, was doing some fantastic pirouettes for the first couple of laps, but now everybody, I thought he was crazy to start on the soft, but I take it all back. As I said, it was a stroke of genius. He's now up to 5th, starting on those soft tyres. We can see Wadru is in, so Wadru's had enough of the wet tyres as well. He's coming in to put some slicks on. Unforgiven, is he going to come in? No, he's not. He's decided to stay out, but looking for the wet part of the track. You can see on the right hand side, you see the spray coming off those tyres. He's just trying to cool them down a bit, still on the intermediates, but in 6th now. Let's just go up and see what's happening with Stormfly, our leader. The tyres, intermediate tyres, just about 45% wear, and the fuel going down now. I've got a feeling Stormfly might actually try and drag these tyres out till he needs to pit for fuel as well. We are on lap 10, and we are just approaching 14.5 minutes of this race, and Stormfly setting his stall out very, very early, isn't he? Grasshopper, great start for Grasshopper. Started 6th on the grid and has now made his way up into P2. He's got Brian Moncani chasing him down, but these guys will be thinking of coming into the pits. And there we go, Stormfly, our race leader, has decided to come in. Now let's just see if Grasshopper is staying out. So Grasshopper's staying out and takes the lead. Brian Moncani, he stays out as well, moves up into P2, but they are on the wet tyres. Method, he's moved up into 3rd. Started on those soft tyres and now moves up into P3, but does need to stay off those slippy curbs. Willard now moves up into P4. Pushing track limits there for Willard, and there we go, he's gone searching for the wet parts of the track as well, trying to stay off that dry line as much as he can, looking for the grip. Unforgiven, he should be doing the same as well, trying to get off of that dry line and try and find the grip. Nath has made his way up into 6th now. Nath stopped very early on, didn't he, to get rid of his wet tyres onto the slicks, and he's now made his way up into 6th. Started pole did Nath, and he's now trying to claw his way back up through the grid to get himself back amongst those leaders, but it's a big ask at the minute with the gap that Stormfly's got, but it does look like Nath. Let's jump on board, shall we? Let's go on board with Nath as we try and chase Unforgiven down as we go through Raunch at turn 6, down the hill towards turn 7 at Worth Curve. On those soft tyres, Unforgiven struggling on the wet, on the intermediates, and you can see that Nath has got so much more grip, but pulls out of this turn at turn 9 at Rint. Doesn't want to push his luck. Into turn 10, Red Bull Mobile, and then onto the straight. You can see Unforgiven really struggling to keep that car under control as Nath gets his foot down and moves up into turn 1. Just backs out. I thought he was going to keep on going actually, but no, just backs out. Has got the superior grip. Unforgiven really is pushing track limits there and looking for the wettest part of the track. You can see he's gone over to the left, whereas Nath can stay on the dry line. Unforgiven has to come onto the dry line now. Hard onto the brakes into turn 3, and it looks like Nath may have just got it done, although Unforgiven is fighting back, but he just hasn't got the grip that Nath has got with those softer tyres. And down the hill he goes towards turn 4 at Slosh Gold. Unforgiven trying to stay with him, but he has got to pick that wet part of the track up. And there we go again, Unforgiven drifts to the right, whereas Nath can stay on the racing line. So good decision for Nath to come in early, and I'm sure some of the other guys on track are going to be starting to do the same thing now, the likes of Unforgiven. Who else is still out on wets then? So Grasshopper, he's still out on the intermediates, and I think he's going to try and push them at least to the end of this lap anyway, when he might have to come with some fuel. Brian Moncani, he's going to do the same, although he's being caught by Method. Method, his tyres are okay actually, but he's going to have to come in for fuel, so he may just sit behind Brian Moncani, pick up a bit of a slipstream. Unless the opportunity arises, then he'll go for it. But both of these guys thinking of coming into the pits very soon for fuel, if nothing else. Remember, they have got the overtake button. You can see Method has used more than half of his overtake juice. Brian Moncani still a full tank, as has Grasshopper almost. But Grasshopper leading this race at the minute. Now then, is he going to come into the pits at the end of this lap? Where is Stormfly? Stormfly is down in 7th, but remember, he has made a pit stop. The guys ahead of him, they haven't, and they've all got to come in. You can see the fuel is getting very low on Willard's car. Nath has made a stop, as of course he has. Nath has made a stop, so he may well take over the lead of this race when the rest of the guys come in. Method and Brian Moncani almost wheel to wheel. Brian Moncani with a half a second penalty as he slots in behind Method as Method moves up into P2, but is going to have to come into the pits. Brian Moncani is exactly the same, and Grasshopper soon to be coming into the pits at the end of this lap. So the top 3 will be coming into the pits. Nath is he is going to take over, isn't he, as the lead of this race once again. He started on pole position, soon got overtaken by Stormfly, but Nath came in a couple of laps earlier than Stormfly and is now sitting in 4th, poised, ready to take over the lead of this race once again. Willard in 5th, he's separating Nath and Stormfly at the minute, but Willard has got to come into the pits at the end of this lap as well. So let's just go back up and check out what's happening with Grasshopper as he comes up towards turn 9 at Rint. Now then, is he going to stay to the right and come into the pits, or is he going to try and get one more lap out of that tank? He looks like he's going to get one more out of it, so Grasshopper is pushing to get one more lap out of that fuel tank. Method is in, he needs the fuel. Brian Moncani is in. Nath is going to move up into P2, and I'm sure there's going to be quite a flurry of cars into the pits, because I think Willard needs to come in. Yes, he does. Stormfly will go through. He pitted a couple of laps ago. So race leader Grasshopper has got to try and get to the end of this lap. He's just coming up to lap, actually, Matty Older, but has got to pit. So Nathan's second. He'll be thinking about a pit stop within the next 2 or 3 laps for fuel, and that is where Stormfly may retake the lead. So Stormfly looking good at the minute, so if I'm going to put my 50p on anybody, I think at the minute it's going to be Stormfly, the Flying Dutchman, sitting 3rd currently. Grasshopper leading, but has got to go into the pit. Surely he's going to come in now. He won't have enough fuel to make it another lap, so Grasshopper is going to be into the pits now. So fuel and a fresh set of boots for Grasshopper. Nath, he can stay out. He's now just coming up towards turn 9 at Rint. Alan, if you keep your eye on the left hand table at the top, you see Grasshopper with the number 1 next to it. That's his fuel. So as soon as you start seeing that going up, you know that he'll be soon out of the pits. But as as Nath goes through to retake the lead of this race, Stormfly has just crossed the start finish line and moves up into P2. The fuel now starting to go into Grasshopper's car as Wadru goes through as well. He's got another few laps to go before he has to pit. So Wadru up into 3rd. Grasshopper still taking on fuel. Where's he going to come out? Where is Method? Method has made his his first stop, fresh set of tyres for him. Oh, now that we've got a yellow flag. Why have we got a yellow flag? We don't know. Oh, we do. We have got somebody. It is Viking. What has happened to Viking? He's parked himself up. Oh, a bit further. Oh, he's coming out of the pit, so he's put some medium tyres on. Now then, what happened to Viking? Don't tell me he hit a wet patch as he came out of the pit. He came out very gingerly, didn't he? The back wheels are spinning a little bit. Oh, and there we go. Yeah, you've got to be so careful coming out of the pit, because the car's not driving on that part of the track. It is still very wet, and unfortunately Viking, I think he knew that, because he came out the pit very, very slowly, didn't he? But it wasn't enough to stop that car from spinning, and that's what's happened. So poor old Viking now is parked up, and he doesn't seem to be able to get the car started again, does he? It is just not moving. He's got damage at the front, so he's probably desperately on the radio talking to the race director. They're trying to get the car going. It looks like the car's now moving. Oh, now they just limped across the track. They're very lucky he didn't. I think it was Nath. He could have took. No, it wasn't Nath. It was. Well, I don't know, but he could have took somebody out. But he's back up and running now, but in 11th. So poor old Viking down in 11th. Oh, and he struggled there. He really is struggling on the medium tyres. And the car goes off as Unforgiven is now coming through to lap him. So Viking having an absolute nightmare of a restart after pulling into the pits. But he's still going. He's just got to try and find that dry line, hasn't he? Go back up to the sharp end, and Nath out in front, although he has got to come in to get some more fuel now. Then he may come in at the end of this lap. So where is Stormfly? Not that far behind, actually. So Stormfly with over half a tank of fuel and a decent set of tyres on him. He's just lapped Matty Older, I think, in 9th. So Stormfly is soon to be retake the lead of this race, because Nath has got to come into the pits, and there we go, the fuel light is flashing. So does he come in now? Does he try and get one more lap out of that tank? He is. He's going to try and get one more lap out of it. He's just thinking, well, I'm going to have one more lap while I'm out in front. Stormfly in second, catching very quickly as well is Stormfly. Then we've got Wadru in third. Where's the quite a gap actually between them. And Wadru has now got the fuel light on as well, so he's going to have to pit at the end of this lap. What about Stormfly? No, he's still got just under half a tank of fuel, so Stormfly should not only take the lead of this race, but should open that gap again that he had earlier on. In fourth, we've got Method. Let's have a look at his fuel here. Well, he's got over 3/4 of the tank of fuel, so pitted not that long ago. Oh, now then, have we got another spinner? Is this somebody else that's coming? It's Rossi. And I think Rossi has done, oh no, I was going to say he's done the same as Viking, but he's not. He's just fell foul to turn one as Rossi on the medium tyres, and he's probably either gone onto the sausage curb or he's picked up a bit of wet. Yeah, there you go, too wide. Very wet out there on the runoff, and poor old Rossi spinning round and round in circles, trying desperately to get back on the track. Now he's on the wet bit, so he's got to be careful he doesn't spin again. So that's poor old Rossi down in 10th. Viking into the pits, and well, he must have some technical problems. There's no fuel going in, the guys aren't working on the car at all, so Viking limped back to the pits. So he's got something wrong with the car, hasn't he? So I can feel a retirement coming on for Viking as our race leader Nath dives into the pits. He needs some fuel. He'll probably get a fresh set of boots on as well. So Stormfly should go through and take the lead as he does. Yeah, so Stormfly takes over the lead of this race again. And Nath is into the pit. Wadru also into the pit, which means Method, who is currently sitting in fourth, has just come through turn 8 and heading towards turn 9 and 10. I think Stormfly is going to open up such a big lead from these guys. Now then, the fuel is going into Nath's car, but I think Method is probably going to go through and take P2 before Nath can get out of the pits. Now then, I'm going to go on board with Nath because we want to see him come out of the pits. He's on some racing soft tyres. I want to make sure he doesn't do the same thing that Viking did as he tries to get back onto the track. It is going to be wet on that part of the circuit. You can see it very wet if you look at that bar, and Nath very tentatively gets back onto the dry line, so well done to him. Wadru is going to have the same problem. He's coming out on the soft tyres, and he's got to be careful on how much power you put down until you can get onto the dry line, and Wadru back out very safely in 6th position. He's being followed now very closely by Willard in 7th. A yellow flag again. We don't know what for, because I can't see anybody spinning. So yeah, not sure what the yellow flag is about, as we are now very, very spaced out. Rossi down in 10th. It's hard to tell actually who's been lapped. I think a couple of the guys have been lapped right up to about P8, something like that. So we'll have a look at this gap, shall we? Stormfly out in front, and then we've got Method, who is just coming around turn 1. So Stormfly just heading towards turn 4 at Slosh Gold, as Method in P2 has just come around turn 1. That is the gap between the two of them. Then we've got Grasshopper in P3. Let's have a look. He is about halfway up the straight through turn 2 as Method goes around turn 3. So we can't tell. I can't tell what the distance is in seconds, unfortunately. That is the, I've said it many times, that is just the one thing I wish on the replays that PD would sort out. If anybody's listening to this, I very much doubt they are, but if anybody from PD is listening, is there any way that we can get the time difference put in on the replays so that we can see how many seconds behind each of them are? Now then, well, I'll have to do it on the next lap. I was going to do a lap with our leader, but he's just gone through turn 1 while I've been waffling on and complaining about the replays. So we'll come back and we'll follow Stormfly round a lap. Let's have a look and see if we've got anybody that is close to anybody. No, we haven't. Willard is, he's just lapped, I think, Matty. Wadru down in 7th. We've got nobody actually battling. The closest we've got, I think, is Unforgiven and Wadru. As Unforgiven tries to chase Wadru around turn 6 at Raunch. Unforgiven on a fresh set of soft tyres. Wadru, well, he's on an even fresher set, isn't he? So Wadru should have the advantage, really. But Unforgiven is picking up the strict field. In fact, let's go on board with Unforgiven. Finally see a little bit of racing around turn 9, then down the hill towards turn 10. Be careful to keep it in track limits. Oh, as Unforgiven goes very wide into turn 10. He'll be lucky if he gets away with a penalty there. Up to a yellow flag. Where we keep getting these yellow flags? Oh, it is somebody spinning out. We shall see as we get a little bit closer. Let's have a look on the left now then. Who was it? It was Rossi, so poor old Rossi spun again at turn 1 as he moves over to let Wadru and Unforgiven through. So into turn 3 we go. Now then, let's have a look and see if we can find where Stormfly is. There's Stormfly, around turn 3. So we will do a lap. We will do a lap with our race leader. He currently has the fastest lap as well, a 1:14.3. We need to jump on board with him very quickly, don't we? Because he's got less than a quarter of a tank of fuel, and the tyres are starting to wear. So let's just have a look. Who's going to cross the line? It's Willard. Should we do a lap with Willard? Yeah, there we go. Let's jump on board with Willard. So it is across the start-finish line then, under the Red Bull little banner there, into the braking zone of turn 1 at Nicky Lauda curve. This right-hander, you don't want to go too far over there, otherwise you will pick up penalty. Up then it is foot planted firmly on the loud pedal all the way up the hill through turn 2 into the braking zone again at turn 3. This very tight right-hander at Remus, the one that catches a lot of people out. It's very easy to lose the back end as you try and get on the power through turn 3. Down the hill we go then towards Schlossgold at turn 4. Just under the bridge is where you're going to be slamming those brakes on, and then back onto the power again as you exit turn 4 through turn 5, this sweeping right-hander, and then immediately you are thrown into turn 6 at Raunch. A long left-hander down the hill still into turn 7 at Worth Curve, using as much of the track as you dare through the penalty zone, which is at turn 8, into the braking zone again at turn 9. Careful not to run too far out to the left, but stay there as much as you can to open up turn 10. And there we go, across the start finish line, the start lap 23. So that was a lap with driver's eye view. So thank you to Willard for allowing us on board while he did that. So we will go back up to the top and we will have a look down and see where everybody is. So Stormfly, race leader, into the pits then. Definitely needs some fuel. Then we've got Method in second. Well, where is he? He's just coming through turn 8 at the minute. Oh, we do have a spinner again on the line. It's poor old Rossi. I don't know if he's practicing his ballet dancing or what, but he seems to be doing more pirouettes than laps. Come on, Rossi, you're better than this. He's got damage at the front now, and on the front right, having an absolute nightmare. Well, I'm saying he's having a nightmare. He might be having a lot of fun. He's probably laughing his head off, actually, while he's trying to get that car around that track. But poor old Rossi down in 10th now with damage after another big spin on the medium tyres. Oh, and he's gone too deep into turn 3 as well. He should probably pick up another penalty there. So he really is collecting them. He's probably had about 5 minutes worth. Hopefully he'll get away with that. It might look like he's got away with it, and he has. So good news there for Rossi in 10th, although he struggles to get out of turn 4. So up at the top now then, it is Method that has taken the lead after Stormfly has made that pit stop. So Method now taking the lead. Remember, he started on the soft tyres, didn't he? A yellow flag again, so that's somebody else spin. Oh, Rossi. Oh, he must be chuckling to himself now. He's got to be chuckling to himself now. You cannot spin as much as that and not have a bit of fun. So poor old Rossi. Method though, he must have a smile on his face at the minute. Tyres are okay, just over a quarter of a tank of fuel, and he's actually leading this race with Grasshopper chasing him down in second. Let's have a look at the distance. Yeah, Method just gone through turn one, Grasshopper just coming up to it. He has got Nath all over the back of him, so Nath having a look at trying to take P2 away from Grasshopper, trying to force a mistake. Grasshopper goes very deep into turn one, which allows Nath up alongside of him. Nath gets in front of Grasshopper as they go through turn two, up the hill towards turn three. Is Grasshopper going to have another look at the inside? No, he's not. Nath just manages to keep him behind. If we go on board with Nath, then we can have a look and see what's happening behind as we go down the hill now towards Schlossgold for the 25th time. Grasshopper not interested at this moment in having a look. He's probably just going to sit there, wait for Nath to make a mistake or pick up the slipstream. But although it does look like Grasshopper's actually falling behind a little bit, we'll have a look at the tyre situation, shall we? As Nath is on the soft tyres, and Grasshopper's on the soft tyres as well. So, yeah, not sure. He just seemed to drop back a little bit, did Grasshopper. Into turn 9, down the hill towards turn 10, and Nath just opening up a slight gap. And now Grasshopper hits that overtake button, which should get him a little bit closer to Nath. The yellow flags are out again. We're not sure why. I can't see, if I look at the top right hand corner at the big map, I can't see anybody facing the wrong way. But Grasshopper still chasing Nath. Then we've got Stormfly down in fourth. He's got Brian Moncani for company. So Nath is actually, that all got a bit touchy-feely. Let's just go back a little bit and have a look at this just before we get to turn one. So it is Brian Moncani putting the pressure on Stormfly. Stormfly not really used to this kind of pressure. Into turn one. They both get a decent exit out of there. And Brian Moncani slots in as the dog decides to chip in as well. Brian Moncani, I think he was going to have a bit of a look at the inside, and Stormfly didn't want him to. There wasn't a lot of room coming together of the wheels. Brian Moncani goes very, very deep into turn three, and well, he's lost a lot of time there, hasn't he, to Stormfly, as the Flying Dutchman just shoots off down the road. So some good hard battling there between the two of them, but they managed to stay facing the right direction. But Brian Moncani now dropping off the back of Stormfly in fifth. Brian on the soft tyres, Stormfly also on the soft, but a brand new set, and trying to get back up into a podium position. Remember, my 50p is on Stormfly. So let's just have a look. He's got just over 3/4 of a tank of fuel. Let's see what the guys ahead of him have got. Well, Grasshopper's certainly going to have to pit pretty soon, isn't he? As is Nath and Method. So Method's going to be coming in first, our race leader. We've got the yellow flag again. Who is it, Rossi? Yes, Rossi having another little practice at his ballet pirouette. As Method, well, he's not that far away from him. He's managed to get by Matty Older down in 9th. Haven't really seen much of Matty, have we? Let's have a follow of Matty as he's struggling as well. He's now out on a fresh set of soft tyres, just over half a tank of fuel. Where is Unforgiven? Let's have a look. Oh, there is quite a gap actually between Matty and Unforgiven in 8th. So poor old Matty's got nobody really to race with unless he can start to push to catch up to the back of Unforgiven. Let's have a look at the fuel. Well, Unforgiven's going to have to come into the pits very shortly. He's going to come in definitely before Matty does. So Matty, he's either going to catch up or he's actually going to take P8 away from Unforgiven. When Unforgiven has to pit, which is going to be pretty soon actually. As we go around turn 1 and we start the climb up through turn 2 towards turn 3, and we're just following Matty, currently sitting in 9th position. Well, he's actually gone purple there, so he's had a good first section, but oh no, that wasn't a great entry into turn 3. Got up on that curb and you could see the spray coming off the tyres, so that would have scrubbed quite a bit of time off of him as he tried to get the power down the hill towards turn 4. Then Just keep an eye on that left-hand table to see who's diving into the pits. Unforgiven, he's going to have to come in pretty soon. Maybe not this lap, but next lap definitely. So we'll just go back up to the top and see what's happening. Method, as he comes around turn 8, well, he's definitely going to have to come into the pits now, isn't he? The fuel light is on. We've got the yellow flag again. I'm not even going to look. I'm pretty much... Oh, it was Unforgiven. I thought... I do take it back, Rossi. I thought it may have been Rossi. Oh, now then, that was a big old slam, that was. And I'm thinking that this is where he's going into the pits and he's hit a wet patch. Oh, there we go. The back end just comes round. Didn't want to know, did it? Slams into the barrier. So, and Method does an overtake manoeuvre in the pit lane. So, race leader then. Into the pits, P2 into the pits, Stormfly around turn 10 and soon to retake the lead of this race. He's got Grasshopper up ahead of him, but Grasshopper's going to be making a pit stop within the next lap or two. Stormfly in second at the minute, but will retake the lead of this race. If he can get just a little bit closer to Stormfly, well, he's not that far, is he? On, we've got a spinner at turn 3 again. We're going to see who it is, well, I'm not going to try and find it, or shall I? Yeah, I will do. Oh, it was Matty. It was Matty that spun this time, coming out of turn 3. He's soon going to be taken by Rossi, so Rossi making a bit of a move onto Matty. Rossi in P10 at the minute. Now then, these two have got the blue flags being waved. So our race leader, Grasshopper, is looking to try and get by, but Rossi and Matty are racing. Matty currently trying to hold on to P9 with Rossi, putting the pressure on him. Now they've got the blue flags being waved, so they are going to have to try and move out of the way, but they are in a race of their own. Well, it looks like Rossi's moved over and let Grasshopper through, which has just opened the gap up between Matty and Rossi. So Matty stays out, Rossi stays out on a fresh set of soft tyres. Stormfly is in second at the minute. He's in between Matty and Rossi now. So Rossi's got to try and catch up to Matty. And it's Matty's gone off. So Matty at turn 1, the exit of turn 1, and he's probably done the same as what a couple of the other guys have done, and took too much curb. The back end's come round. Well, where's Rossi? I thought Rossi would have... oh no, it must be that Matty's already lapped Rossi. Oh well. I thought Rossi was going to go up to P10, but he's got to unlap himself now. So he's got to go all the way around and then catch up to the back of Matty. Poor old Ross, not having a great race. Oh, the back end goes again. He really is struggling with this car at the minute. So Grasshopper has got Stormfly all over the back end of his car, and he's got to come into the pits. So Stormfly really doesn't need to push very hard. Not sure he knows that Grasshopper's coming into the pits, but there we go. Grasshopper into the pits, trying not to do what Unforgiven did. So Stormfly retakes the lead of this race. Wadru is well, I think he's going to be okay for another lap. He may well just dive into the pits anyway, but Wadru sitting in P3. This is more like Wadru. Didn't have a great race last week, did he, at Le Sarthe? Tried a new tactics, but it just didn't pay off for him this time. He's just gone for it, and currently holding on to P3. Grasshopper in P2 now. Then this is going to be very close as Grasshopper makes his way out the pits. You can just see Wadru just about to come around turn 1. Grasshopper being very careful not to get on the wet part of the track. It is drying out, but Grasshopper rejoins in second, but Wadru right on top of him. Has got slightly worn tyres, but they are up to temperature, and the grip is there for Wadru. Grasshopper has got to get some heat into his tyres to get them working, but now the race is on as P2 and P3 battle it out. Quick look behind as well, there's nobody there, is there? So there's no pressure at all. So Wadru really got something to focus on now, and that is Grasshopper's backside. as we go up towards turn 6. For the 31st time, we have got about just over 7 minutes of this race to go, and I've just noticed that Wadru has got to come into the pits because the fuel light is flashing now. He's got no overtake juice left, so he is going to have to dive into the pits, which is going to free up Grasshopper. And there we go, Wadru into the pits. So Grasshopper free to get on after Stormfly, although it is one big ask because Stormfly's, well, he's about half a track in front. That's the gap between Stormfly and Grasshopper. I can't see anybody catching Stormfly now. Method in third at the minute as he moves on past Wadru. Wadru's still in the pits, no fuel going in. Nath has moved up into P4. Just over half a tank. Now that may be enough to see him to the end of the race. He's got a fresh set of soft tyres on as well. So Nath looking to get onto the podium. So pushing hard now is Nath. At the minute, the podium is occupied by Stormfly in first. Then we've got Grasshopper on the second step with Method on the third. But Nath really is going to start pushing now. He'd like a bit of a sip of the old champagne, I'm sure. But let's have a look at the gap. Let's see what it... Well, it's not a big gap, is it? It is not a big gap between Method and Nath. And to be fair, they've both got the same sort of tyre wear and fuel capacity or tank or whatever you want to call it. But they are pretty evenly matched now. Third and fourth. Let's have a look. Brian Moncani just under half a tank, so he should have enough to get to the end of the race. He's on a fresh set of soft tyres as well, so I think everybody's pretty much done their last stop, where Brian currently holding on to P5. Wadru in 6 after making his final stop. I think the best that Wadru may be able to do actually is about 5th, 4th at a push. It depends if Nath has any incidents or not. Nath in 4th, Brian Moncani all the way down just as he exits turn 1. Then you've got Wadru also just out of turn 1. So Wadru, well, he's got to get by Brian, he's got to get by Nath, and then he's got to try and catch up to Method. So I think it's a big ask for Wadru to get onto the podium, but he's going to give it a go, isn't he? Willard sitting in 7. Not that far behind Wadru actually. So yeah, I'm just looking at the fuel. I think everybody now has done their final stop and has got enough to get them to the end of the race. Unforgiven in 8th, all on his lonesome. Well, I say all on his lonesome. He's got Matty behind him. It seems a bit weird that we've got 8th chasing 9th. Yeah, just seems weird, doesn't it, that 8th is chasing 9th, but that's exactly where we are as Unforgiven has lapped Matty. So Unforgiven in 8th, Matty in 9th, and then poor old Rossi down in 10th. I think Matty and Rossi will want to forget this race as quickly as they possibly can. As we let's have a look at the time. 46, just coming up to 46 and a half minutes of this 50-minute race, so 3.5 minutes to go. And those 3.5 minutes are going to seem like a lifetime to the likes of Rossi and Matty, who have not enjoyed themselves today here in Austria. Somebody who has, and he's still enjoying himself, he's Stormfly. I don't think he's really had to race anybody today. Fair old gap on him. He's had the fastest lap taken away actually by Nath, who's got a 1:13.6, so Stormfly, his fastest is a 1:13.9. So he needs to get a shake on if he wants to get maximum points here. Needs to push. He doesn't need to push for the win, but he needs to push if he wants to get the fastest lap as well. We've got Grasshopper in 2nd, he's under no threat at the minute. Method in 3rd, also not really coming under a threat. He has got Nath not that far behind him, but not enough to trouble him at the minute. Just enough to keep him flicking his eyes into those mirrors, just to make sure that Nath is not getting any closer. But you know what, I think Nath is getting closer, so Nath could be challenging to get onto the podium. as we enter the last few minutes of this race, and Nath is definitely getting closer to Method. I think Method just being a little bit more cautious than Nath. Nath really just going for it, and why not? It is, I think it's easier to chase than it is to be chased on track, and Nath really pushing hard. It just gives you something to focus on, the car in front. So a good little battle developing here for the final podium spot. Then we've got Brian Moncani in 5th, Wadru in 6th, and we've got Willard in 7th, Unforgiven in 8th, Matty in 9th, and Rossi down in 10th. Stormfly all on his lonesome out there in the lead at the minute, with Grasshopper in 2nd. So this is the closest we're going to have to a race, actually. Let's jump on board with Nate, shall we, as we're about a minute and a half to go of this race. Stormfly pretty much got it wrapped up. Grasshopper is definitely going to be taking P2. It is the race for P3 now, as Method currently holds on to it, and Nath doing everything he can to catch up to the back of Arnie. Oh, I thought he was going to have a bit of a look at the inside as they went into turn 4. Nath gets a little bit squirrely on the way out, and that has just given Method just that little bit of breathing space. Through turn 6 they go at Raunch, down the hill towards turn 7 at Worth Curve, and Nath has got it all to do again. He was right on the arse end of Method, but that little mistake there at turn 4 has cost him, and the gap's opened up again. But he's now pushing through turn 9, through turn 10, trying not to pick any penalties up. We are into the last 30 seconds of this race as Nath pushes hard to try and force a mistake from Method. We are going to get people starting to cross the line, so I'm going to be flicking backwards and forwards, so apologies for that. I'd just like to see people cross the line, as Nath really is doing everything he can to get that 3rd position. Oh, and Method has caught up to the back of Grasshopper, as Nath gets a good purple sector through sector 1. It is Method now pushing for P2. Grasshopper has just took his foot off the gas. Well, he's got to, because he hasn't got any gas left. So Grasshopper is saving fuel. What a race this is going to be to the finish line. We have finished. Where is Stormfly? Stormfly crosses the line to take the win, and well done to him. In 2nd at the minute, it is Grasshopper just hanging on. He has just about got enough fuel, I think, to get him to the end of the race, but Method is going to be pushing hard to try and take that away from him, and Nath is just lurking around there in 4th at the minute. This is going to be a great finish to the end. At the minute is Grasshopper just holding on to P2 as he goes through turn 9, down the hill towards turn. Oh, and Nath has gone very wide. That could be a penalty as Grasshopper comes around the final turn to finish in 2nd. Method gets 3rd. Nath gets 4th. What a great finish to this race. Oh, and Brian Moncani and Wadru, they're fighting it out now as well for 5th. Both with the fuel light flashing as Brian Moncani just keeps ahead of Wadru. Wadru pushing hard though through the final turn. I don't think he's going to get it done. Brian Moncani, he's just going to hold on to it, and he does. So Brian gets 5th, Wadru 6th. Willard is going to cross the line in 7th. What a fantastic finish to this race as Willard crosses the line. Unforgiven, Matty Older and Rossi already finished. Wow, what a great finish to that race here in Austria. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to the guys for such a great race. Remember, if you did enjoy these races, please hit that like button, and if you've not already subscribed, do me a favour and do so, and I shall catch you for the next one. I'm not sure where we are next week. Let me just have a quick look at my notes to see if it tells me anything. We may, if it's right, we're going to be at Watkins next week, so another fantastic track over in America. Just outside of Dix, town called Dix is Watkins, so that will be a fantastic race, so stick around for that. And yeah, I shall catch you all next week. Thank you very much for watching.